New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature that's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
People, man, good evening to you. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where Black folk do read. You put in a book, and we absolutely will find it. Tonight, we are going to be continuing our journey into the book called The University of Success. For those that's over on Instagram, it looks like this. And this is a book that has about 50 lessons or 50 chapters in it, where we can really take our understanding of success to a new level and implement lessons from some of the greatest minds in the world. This book is a compilation of 50 different minds, from Napoleon Hill to tonight we'll be reading from P.T. Barnum, just across the gamut. So Mandino, who was the author of this book, did a good job during his time to compile these excerpts, put it into one book so we can gather from it tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to become a money getter, from P.T. Barnum. We're entering into semester number 6 because these are lessons. And so hopefully you take away from it tonight. So we do have a book club session that we do in the morning, and we have one we do in the evening. The evening time is very special because normally that's a time where we're beginning to cut the noise off in our life. We can actually capture and gather some of this stuff, really activate our subconscious mind. So the evening session is very, very powerful, and hopefully you get something from it tonight. What's going on, Princess T Baby? Thanks so much for joining the New Black Wall Street Book Club. So we're going to get right into this thing, guys. We do have some sponsors as well, but I want to get right into our reading mode here tonight as we tackle how to become a money getter, which is lesson 26 from P.T. Barnum. And that last name may sound familiar because we have the P.T. Barnum and Bailey people as well. While you guys are connected, man, go ahead and let us know that you are here. Go ahead and say hello. Let us know what city, what state you may be connecting from, as we are connecting with people all over the globe using this thing called social media here on Facebook, YouTube, and also Instagram. I'm broadcasting from the beautiful, beautiful place called Decatur. That's right, Decatur, Georgia. And just love to know just how far our reach is here tonight, as you might be connecting from anywhere in the world. Now, semester number 6, as we hop into this thing, it's led off from a quote from R.D. Hitchcock, who says this: that wealth is not of necessity a curse, nor poverty a blessing. Wealth is not of necessity a curse, nor poverty a blessing. We got B More representing here. Princess T Baby is in the house. And as we begin lesson number 26, it states this: that the acquisition of money has always been a simple matter to those who can practice a little discipline and follow a few rules. The acquisition of money has always been a simple matter to those who can practice a little discipline and follow a few rules. How many of you guys are out there, as you may have had times of highs and lows as it relates to the acquisition of money? I think we've all had our hills and our valleys and our mountaintops. During those mountain times in your life, you found that, getting to the money was pretty simple, right? You were disciplined during that time. You had a few rules or some things that you followed, and the money started flowing in. And then as you got away maybe from some of those disciplines, you started finding yourself not being able to get to the money as well as you have in the past. So the acquisition of money has always been a simple matter to those who can practice a little discipline and follow a few rules. P.T. Barnum, lesson number 26, how to become a money getter. Let's read. Phineas Taylor Barnum was undoubtedly the greatest showman that America had ever seen. If he had not existed, Horatio Alger would have probably invented him as a hero of one of his rags to riches epics. From a truly humble beginning as a grocery clerk and with only a grammar school education, P.T. Barnum eventually built the largest circus compound in the world, which he billed as the greatest show on earth. Barnum had very definite ideas on success and how to attain it, and he included his practical advice, all of it still valid today, in his autobiography, The Life of P.T. Barnum, written by himself. Invariably, when he was invited to deliver a speech, he would refer to the rules of success from his book, and as his lecture increased in popularity, he began calling it the art of money getting. PT was wise enough to understand from his own experience as a promoter and politician that there was one subject on which the public never tired, and that subject was money. This lesson is taken from his money speech. Although it was addressed primarily to America's youth with the purpose of teaching them how to pursue wealth with integrity and character, you are certain to discover, whatever your age may be, much that will help you think clearly about where you are going and how you want to get there. When this full semester has been completed, you'll understand the basic principles of accumulating money, even though you realize by now that money alone carries with it no guarantee of happiness. You will have learned much more, especially the powerful truth that principles of success never change, as the most colorful member of our faculty is about to remind you. And so we're going to hear from an excerpt from P.T. Barnum, from The Greatest Show on Earth, the circus, and him sharing across the world, across the globe, these principles of success for his life. Give me just a second, guys. I just want to make sure I tag this thing over here as well, and then we are good to go. What's going on, Miss Vivian? How are you? How are you doing? Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. We are back, or almost back, or something like that. We're back tonight, nonetheless. And I'll do this here, and we will do this here. All right, fantastic. All right, in the United States, where we have more land than people, it is not all difficult for persons in good health to make money. Let me see here, make sure we're good here. All right, fantastic. What's going on? Good evening to you. We have more land than people. It is not all difficult for persons in good health to make money. In this comparatively new field, there are so many avenues of success open, so many vocations which are not crowded, that any person of either sex who is willing, at least for the time being, to engage in any respectable occupation that offers, may find lucrative employment. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? We're seeing you in a minute. Those who really desire to attain an independence have only to set their minds upon it and adopt the proper means, as they do in regard to any other subject which they wish to accomplish, and the thing is easily done. But however easy it may be found to make money, I have no doubt many of my hearers will agree it is the most difficult thing in the world to keep it. Right? No matter how easy it is to get it, the most difficult thing is to keep it. The road to wealth is, as Benjamin Franklin truly says, as plain as the road to mill. It consists in expending less than we earn. That seems to be the very simple problem. Mr. Micawber, one of those happy creations of the genial Dickens, puts the case in a strong light when he says that to have an income of 20 pounds per year and spend 20 pounds in 66 pence is to be the most miserable of men. Whereas to have an income of only 20 pounds and spend but 19 pounds and 6 pence is to be the happiest of mortals. Many of my hearers may say, we understand this. This is economy, and we know economy is wealth. We know we can't eat our cake and keep it also. Yet I beg to say that perhaps more cases of failure arise from mistakes on this point than almost any other. The fact is, many people think they understand economy when they really do not. So we're talking about this money getting concept, and obviously, I think this is something simple that we know, that we should spend less than we earn, which seems to be very difficult for us to do. True economy consists in always making the income exceed the outgo. Wear the old clothes a little longer if necessary. Dispense with the new pair of gloves. Mend the old dress. Live on plainer food if need be, so that under all circumstances, unless some unforeseen accident occurs, there may be a margin in favor of the income. A penny here and a dollar there placed at interest goes on accumulating, and in this way, the desired result is attained. It requires some training, perhaps, to accomplish this economy. But when once used to it, you will find that there's more satisfaction in rational saving than in irrational spending. There's more satisfaction in rational saving than irrational spending. Here's a recipe which I recommend. I found it to work an excellent cure for extravagance and especially for a mistaken economy. When you find that you have no surplus at the end of the year and yet have a good income, I advise you to take a few sheets of paper and form them into a book and mark down every item of expenditure. That will be an expense list. Post it every day or week in two columns, one headed necessities and other comforts, and the other headed luxuries. And you will find that the latter column will double, triple, and frequently 10 times greater than the former. The real comforts of life cost but a small portion of what most of us can earn. Dr. Franklin says it is the eye of others and not our own eyes which ruin us. If all the world were blind except myself, I should not care for fine clothes or furniture. It is the fear of what Miss Grundy may say that keeps the noses of many worthy families to the grindstone. In America, many persons like to repeat, we are all free and equal. But it is a great mistake in more senses than one. That we are born free and equal is a glorious truth in one sense, yet we are not all born equally rich, and we never shall be. One may say there's a man who has an income of $50,000 per year, while I have but $1,000. I knew that fellow man when he was poor like myself. Now he is rich and thinks he is better than I am. I will show him that I'm as good as he is. I will go and buy a horse and buggy. No, I cannot do that, but I will go and hire one and ride this afternoon on the same road that he does, and thus prove to him that I am as good as he is. My friend, you need not take that trouble. You can easily prove that you're as good as he is. You have only to behave as well as he does. But you cannot make anybody believe that you are as rich as he is. Besides, if you put on these airs and waste your time and spend your money, your poor wife will be obliged to scrub her fingers off at home and buy her tea 2 ounces at a time and everything else in proportion in order that you may keep up appearances. After all, deceive nobody. Men and women accustomed to gratify every whim and caprice will find it hard at first to cut down their various unnecessary expenses. Everybody put in the console, cut down. Cut down. What's going on, Brother Miguel? How are you, Miss J? How are you? To cut down on their various unnecessary expenses and will feel it a great self-denial to live in a smaller house than they have been accustomed to, with less expensive furniture, less company, less costly clothing, fewer servants, and less number of balls, parties, theater goings, carriage rides, pleasure excursions, cigar smoking, liquor drinkings, and other extravagances. But after all, if they will try the plan of laying by a nest egg, or in other words, a small sum of money, and at interest or judiciously invested it in land, they will be surprised at the pleasure to be derived from constantly adding to their little pile, as well as from all the economical habits which are engineered by this course. The old suit of clothes and the old bonnet and dress will answer for another season. The croton or spring water will taste better than champagne. The cold bath and the brisk walk will prove more exhilarating than the ride in the finest coach. A social chat and evening's reading in the family circle, or an hour's play or of Hunt the Slipper and Blind Man's Bluff will be far more pleasant than a $50 or $500 party, when a reflection on the differences in costs is indulged in by those who begin to know the pleasures of saving. The pleasures of savings. Thousands of men are kept poor, and tens of thousands made so after they have acquired quite sufficient to support them well through their life, in consequence of laying their plans of living on too broad a platform. Some families expend $20,000 per year, and some much more, and would scarcely know how to live on less, while others secure more solid enjoyment frequently on a 20th part of that amount. Prosperity is a more severe ordeal than adversity, especially sudden prosperity. Easy come, easy go is an old and true proverb. A spirit of pride and vanity, when permitted to have full sway, is the undying cankerworm which gnaws at the very vitals of a man's worldly possessions. Let them be small or great, hundreds or millions. Many persons, as they begin to prosper, immediately expand their ideas and commence expending for luxuries, until in a short time their expenses swallow up their income, and they become ruined in their ridiculous attempts to keep up appearances and make a sensation. I know a gentleman of fortune who says that when he first began to prosper, his wife would have a new and elegant sofa. That sofa, he says, cost me $30,000. When the sofa reached the house, it was found necessary to get chairs to match, then sideboards and carpets and tables to correspond with them, and so on through the entire stock of furniture. When at last it was found that the house itself was quite too small and old-fashioned for the furniture, and a new one was built to correspond with the new purchases. Thus, added my friend, summing up an outlay of $30,000 caused by that single sofa and saddling on me in the shape of service and equipage and the necessary expenses attendant upon keeping up a fine establishment. A yearly outlay of $11,000 and a tight pinch at that, whereas 10 years ago, we lived with much more real comfort because with much less care on as many hundreds. The truth is, he continued, that sofa would have brought me to inevitable bankruptcy had not a most unexampled tide of prosperity kept me above it, and had I not checked the natural desire to cut a dash. Now, we probably hear a lot about things like this, and people who obviously we start making more money, we start spending more money, right? Start making more money, start spending more money. Cut the expenses, especially during a time like this. Avoid debt. Avoid debt. This is from P.T. Barnum, from Barnum and Bailey, the greatest show on earth. He had a plan to share with people on how to become a money getter. Avoid debt. Everybody put that in comments. So avoid debt. Young men starting in life should avoid running into debt. There is scarcely anything that drags a person down like debt. It is a slavish position to get in, yet we find many a young man hardly out of his teens running in debt. He meets a chum and says, "Look at this, I got trusted for a new suit of clothes." He seems to look upon the clothes as so much given to him. Well, it frequently is so. But if he succeeds in paying and then gets trusted again, he is adopting a habit which will keep him in poverty through life. Debt keeps people in poverty through life. Debt robs a man of his self-respect and makes him almost despise himself, grunting and groaning and working for what he has eaten up or worn out. And now when he is called upon to pay up, he has nothing to show for his money. This is properly termed working for a dead horse. I do not speak of merchants buying and selling on credit, or those who buy on credit in order to turn the purchase to a profit. The old Quaker said that his farmer son, John, never gets trusted. But if he gets trusted for anything, let it be for manure, because it will help thee pay it back again. Mr. Beecher advised young men to get in debt if they could to a small amount in purchase of a land in the country districts. If a young man, he says, will only get in debt for some land and then get married, these two things will keep him straight, or nothing will. This may be safe to a limited extent, but getting in debt for what you eat and drink and wear is to be avoided. Some families have a foolish habit of getting credit at the stores and thus frequently purchase many things which might have been dispensed with. Money is in some respects like fire. It is a very excellent servant, but a terrible master. When you have it mastering you, when interest is constantly piling up against you, it will keep you down in the worst kind of slavery. But let money work for you. Everybody put in console, let money work for me. But let money work for you. And you will have the most devoted servant in the world. It is no eye servant. There is nothing animate or inanimate that will work so faithfully as money when placed at interest well secured. It works night and day, and in wet or dry weather. Do not let it work against you. If you do, there is no chance for success in life so far as money is concerned. John Randolph, the eccentric Virginian, once exclaimed in Congress, "Mr. Speaker, I've discovered the philosopher's stone. Pay as you go. This is indeed nearer to the philosopher's stone than any alchemist has ever yet arrived." What's going on, Courtney Gore Smith? So it's saying here, it said, hey, man, avoid debt, right? But it said if you do go into debt, let it be for something that'll bring profit into your household. Let it not be for some stuff that you just eat or wear or you drink, but let it be for some land, i.e. real estate. Let it be into some business that you will develop and grow and bring profit from. So there are strategies to this thing called debt, but most people ain't talking about these strategies when they're talking about debt, or they're talking about credit card repair and all this stuff. And it's finding they're just thinking about ways to go further into debt, right? Which will leave them gnawing at the teeth and working hard for stuff that they may no longer even be using in the future. Pay as you go. Pay as you go. Whatever you do, do it with all your might. Whatever you do, do it with all your might. Work at it if necessary, early and late, in season and out of season, not leaving a stone unturned and never deferring for a single hour that which can be done just as well now. The old proverb is full of truth and meaning. Whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. Many a man acquires a fortune by doing his business thoroughly, while his neighbor remains poor for life because he only half does it. Ambition and industry and energy, perseverance are indispensable prerequisites or requisites for success in business. Fortune always favors the brave and never helps a man who does not help himself. It won't do to spend your time like Mr. McAlber, and waiting for something to turn up. To such men, one of two things usually turns up: the poorhouse or the jail. For idleness breeds bad habits and clothes a man in rags. The poor spendthrift vagabond said to a rich man, I've discovered there is money enough in the world for all of us if it was equally divided. This must be done and we shall all be happy together. But was the response, if everybody was like you, it would be spent in 2 months. And what would you do then? Oh, divide again, keep dividing, of course. I was recently reading a London paper, and I was recently reading in a London paper an account of a light philosopher pauper who was kicked out of a cheap boarding house because he could not pay his bill. But he had a roll of paper sticking out of his coat pocket, which, upon examination, proved to be his plan of paying off the national debt of England without the aid of a penny. He forgot to do it, as Cromwell said, not only trust in Providence, but keep the powder dry. Do your part of the work, or you cannot succeed. Muhammad one night, while camping in a desert, overheard one of the fatigued followers remark, I will loose my camel and trust it to God. No, not so, said the prophet. Tie that camel and trust it to God. Do all you can for yourselves and then trust in providence or luck or whatever you please to call it for the rest. Do all you can. Everybody put that in the comments below. Do all you can. What's going on, Miss G Baby? How Miss It's me. Oh, what's going on, Miss Gabby? How are you? Thanks so much for joining us. This is our night edition of the book club as we're going through the University of Success. And tonight we're covering how to become a money getter. Right? So whatever you do, do it all your might. All right. I would say don't test God, right? Just thinking that, hey, if I just show up. No. Do all you can with all your might. Fortune favors the brave. Now let me ask you guys this. As you think about your day-to-day, and we are beginning to kind of wind down, if you were to just review your day today, did you give it all that you had? Today. Did you give today all that you got? Did you do all that you could today? Did you do it all of your might today? Or did you find some little pockets where you could slack off? And I'll tell you, I didn't do all that I could today, but I did more today than I did yesterday. I can say that. I did more today than I did yesterday. And I'm also seeing the fruits of my labor from the more that I did today. Now, it was easy. It could have been easy for me to kind of check out or for me to take the downtime. And I definitely still had some time that I could have done more. But even in that time, I felt like, okay, well, this is the time where I take my break. This is the time where I kind of meditate, eat my lunch and things like that. But do all that you can. And if you realize or recognize that you could do more, that you still have some more left in you, then maybe you want to think about extracting that energy towards the things that you want to accomplish, towards the things that you want to do. So it doesn't have to be left to tomorrow. Right? It doesn't have to be procrastinated upon because you still got some energy, and here's what I would say, and you got time. You have had the time, right? What did you do with it? Don't get above your business. Don't get above your business. Young men, after they get through their business training or apprenticeship, instead of pursuing their avocation and rising in their business, will often lie about doing nothing. They say, I have learned my business, but I'm not going to be a hireling. What is the object of learning my trade or profession unless I establish myself? Have you capital to start with? No, but I'm going to have it. How are you going to get it? I will tell you confidently, I have a wealthy old aunt and she will die pretty soon. But if she does not, I expect to find some rich old man who will lend me a few thousand to give me a start. If I only get the money to start with, I will do well. There's no greater mistake than when a young man believes he will succeed with borrowed money. Why? Because every man's experience coincides with that of Mr. John Jacob Astor, who said it was more difficult for him to accumulate his first $1,000 than all of the succeeding millions that made up his colossal fortune. Money is good for nothing unless you know the value of it by experience. Give a boy $20,000 and put him in business, and the chances are that he will lose every dollar of it before he is a year older. like buying a ticket in a lottery and drawing a prize. It is easy come, easy go. He does not know the value of it. Nothing is worth anything unless it costs effort. Everybody put in comments on effort. It costs effort. Right? Without self-denial in the economy, patience and perseverance, and commencing with capital which you have not earned, you are not sure to succeed in accumulating. Young men, instead of waiting for dead men's shoes, should be up and doing. For there is no class of persons who are so unaccommodating in regard to dying as these rich old people. And it is fortunate for the expectant heirs that it is so. 9 out of 10 of the rich men of our country today started out in life as poor boys with determined wills and industry and perseverance, economy, and good habits. They went on gradually, made their own money, and saved it. And this is the best way to acquire a fortune. Stephen Girard started life as a poor cabin boy. Now he pays taxes on $1.5 million of income per year. John Jacob Astor was a poor farmer boy and died worth $20 million. Cornelius Vanderbilt began life rowing a boat from Staten Island to New York. Now he presents our government with a steamship worth $1 million, and he is worth $50 million. Right? Don't get above your business. Right? Everything costs effort. Do not scatter your powers. Do not scatter your powers. Engage in one kind of business only and stick to it faithfully until you succeed and until your experience shows that you should abandon it. A constant hammering on one nail will generally drive it home at last, so that it can be clenched. When a man's undivided attention is centered on one object, his mind will constantly be suggesting improvements of value, which would escape him if his brain was occupied by a dozen different subjects at once. Many a fortune has slipped through a man's fingers because he was engaging in too many occupations at a time. There's a good sense in the old caution against having too many irons in the fire at once. Now, what is this speaking on? Now, some of us, obviously, we have heard the term, multiple streams of income. But I believe many of us are mishandling the thought of that and trying to do too many things where we don't have our undivided attention on any one thing to make that one thing, at least one thing, really, really successful for us. And I'm guilty of it. I really am, because I got so many ideas, so many things that I want to do. But I realized that, where am I going to put my focus? And as I put my focus on my business, I put my focus on building the store and refocusing on that, I'm starting to see success in that area, right? Because my undivided attention is going towards, well, how can I constantly be improving on the value of what I bring into the marketplace? Do not scatter your powers. Now, beware of outside operations. Beware of outside operations. We sometimes see men who have obtained fortunes and suddenly become poor. In many cases, this arises from intemperance and often from gaming and other bad habits. Frequently, it occurs because a man has been engaged in outside operations of some sort. When he gets rich in his legitimate business, he is told of a grand speculation where he can make a score of thousands. He is constantly flattered by his friends who tell him that he is born lucky, that everything he touches turns to gold. Now, if he forgets that his economical habits, his rectitude of conduct, and a personal attention to a business which he understood caused his success in life, he will listen to the siren voices. He says, I will put in $20,000. I've been lucky, and my good luck will soon bring me back $60,000. A few days elapse, and it is discovered he must put in $10,000 more. Soon after, he is told it is all right, but certain matters are not foreseen require an advance of $20,000 more, which will bring him a rich harvest. But before the time comes around to realize, the bubble bursts, and he loses all he is possessed of. And then he learns that he ought to have known at the first that however successful a man may be in his own business, if he turns from that and engages in a business which he does not understand, he is like Samson when shorn of his locks. His strength has departed, and he becomes like other men. If a man has plenty of money, he ought to invest something in everything that appears to promise success and that will probably benefit mankind. But let the sums thus invested be moderate in amount, and never let a man foolishly jeopardize a fortune that he has earned in a legitimate way by investing it in things in which he has had no experience. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Thanks so much for joining. So here we're talking about these spaces that we go, especially when we have experienced some semblance of success, and we begin to squander that success into areas in which we have had no experience. Wow. Don't don't blab. We got 2 more sections. We'll be done, guys. Don't blab. Some men have a foolish habit of telling their business secrets. If they make money, they like to tell their neighbors how it was done. Nothing is gained by this, and oftentimes much is lost. Say nothing about your profits, your hopes, your expectations, your intentions. And this should apply to letters as well as to conversation. Gove made Mephistopheles, I don't even know how to say that, say, never write a letter nor destroy one. Businessmen must write letters, but they should be careful what they put in them. If you're losing money, especially cost and not tell of it, or you will lose your reputation. Right? Beware of outside. Whatever you do, do it all your might. Avoid debts. Don't get above your business. Do not scatter your powers. Beware of outside operations. Don't blab. And then last but not least, preserve your integrity. Preserve your integrity. It is more precious than diamonds or rubies. The old miser said to his sons, get money, get it honestly, if you can, but get money. This advice was not only atrociously wicked, but it was the very essence of stupidity. It was as much as to say, if you find it difficult to obtain money honestly, you can easily get it dishonestly. Get it in that way. Poor fool. Not to know that the most difficult thing in life is to make money dishonestly. Not to know that our prisons are full of men who attempted to follow this advice. Not to understand that no man can be dishonest without soon being found out. And that when his lack of principle is discovered, nearly every avenue to success is closed against him forever. The public will properly shun all whose integrity is doubted. No matter how polite and pleasant and accommodating a man may be, none of us dare to deal with him if we suspect false weights and measures. Strict honesty not only lies at the foundation of all success in life financially, but in every other respect. Uncompromising integrity of character is invaluable. It secures to its possessor a peace and joy which cannot be attained without it, which no amount of money or houses and lands can purchase. A man who is known to be strictly honest may be ever so poor, but he has the purses of all the community at his disposal. For all know that if he promises to return what he borrows, he will never disappoint them. As a mere matter of selfishness, therefore, if a man has no higher motive for being honest, all will find that maxim of Dr. Franklin can never fail to be true, that honesty is the best policy. What's going on, Brother Reeves? How you doing? To get rich is not always equivalent to being successful. There are many rich, poor men, while there are many others, honest and devout men and women who have never possessed so much money as some rich person squander in a week, but who are nevertheless really richer and happier than any man could ever be while he is a transgressor of the higher laws of his being. The inordinate love of money, no doubt, may be and is the root of all evil. But money itself, when properly used, is not only a handy thing to have in the house, but affords this gratification of blessing our race by enabling its possessor to enlarge the scope of human happiness and human influence. The desire for wealth is nearly universal, and none can say it is not laudable, provided the possessor of it accepts its responsibilities and uses it as a friend to humanity. What's going on, Chocolate QT 520? Thanks so much for joining. The history of money getting, which is commerce, is a history of civilization. And wherever trade has flourished most, there too have art and science produced the noblest fruits. In fact, as a general thing, money getters are the benefactors of our race. To them, in a great measure, are we indebted for our institutions of learning and of art, our academies, colleges, and religious institutions. It is no argument against the desire for or the possession of our wealth to say that there are sometimes misers who hoard money only for the sake of hoarding, and who have no higher aspiration than to grasp everything which comes within their reach. As we have sometimes hypocrites in religion and demagogues in politics, so there are occasionally misers among money getters. These, however, are only exceptions to the general rule. But when in this country we find such a nuisance and stumbling block as a miser, we remember with gratitude that in America we have no laws of primogeniture, and that in the due course of nature, the time will come when the hoarded dust will be scattered for the benefit of humanity. To all men and women, therefore, do I conscientiously say, make money honestly and not otherwise. For Shakespeare has truly said, he that wants money, means, and content is without 3 good friends. Is without 3 good friends. And so this book, guys, that we are reading through is called The University of Success. And this was a lesson number 26 of 50. And I'll tell you, let me see if I can let you guys know. This book was written back in 1982, okay, 1982. So it's a compilation of some of the greatest minds of our time. Our next lesson will be from Dr. Napoleon Hill, How to Turn Your Desires into Gold. We'll cover that tomorrow. But today we covered, how to become a money getter, written from Mr. P.T. Barnum from the Barnum and Bailey Greatest Show on Earth circus. And he shared with us some sections here. Number 1, to avoid debt. Number 2, to do whatever you do with all your might. Give your energy into your actions. Number 3, don't get above your business, right? Stay in your lane. Number 4, do not scatter your powers, right? Don't try to do everything at once. Focus on doing one thing great, then move to the next thing. Number 4, it said beware of outside operations. Say, hey, once you start reaching a certain level of success, you're going to have all these temptations come across your path, right? Don't squander your money into places with which you have no experience. It's better to invest in what you have also already built. Don't blab. Don't talk to everybody about everything, and then preserve your integrity. Make money honestly, okay? Make money honestly. So this is our evening edition of the New Black Wall Street Book Club. We do have a morning edition as well, which we could do at 7 a.m. in the morning. So if you happen to be up in the morning, we are actually covering this book called Atomic Habits. So our morning reading is to get us prepared for our day, to get us thinking about how we can improve. And our evening reading is really to really capture, activate our subconscious mind, have us something to think about, something to meditate on as we might prepare for bed. So I'll say thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Hopefully you guys got something out of our time here tonight. And we will be back in the morning at 7 o'clock to do our morning reading, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for those. If not, you can catch the replay on Facebook, YouTube, or also Instagram. Well, I'm LCRGJ, Certified Global Financial Educator. I want to say thanks so much for tuning in tonight. And I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we really need. And thank God. That's more than enough. Until the next episode, I'm out.
New black. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club with your host Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now you ain't gotta leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah.